We walk amongst ghosts every day, be it sights of war and strife, or poverty and horror. The twisting, snaking paths are beautiful, but can lead us to some things undiscovered and terrifying. From the Mississippi Delta to the jungles of the Far East, the dead demand to be acknowledged. This is what we do here. Welcome to the House of Asher.
Yes, and welcome to the House of Asher. This is your host, Steve Asher. I hope you guys are doing well. My goodness, as far as I'm concerned, this is this is the Halloween season. We're here, we're scared to get used to it. And that's just how it is, baby boy or baby girl. So, anyway, I was remembering a really freaky series of events. My father, after my mother and father divorced, settled in a nearby town known as Dawson Springs, Kentucky. Well, Dawson Springs is smaller than Princeton, Kentucky, which is where I'm from, which is not saying a lot. But very interesting old school roads, almost like not quite cobblestone roads, but like stone streets, around houses in a lot of places, especially in the area where my father lived, which was an older section. I'll go ahead and tell you where it was at. It was on East Hall Street in Dawson Springs. You can Google it, check it out. And I'm trying to remember. I thought it was like 311. I can't remember the exact address. Anyway, so I would go over there. I'd meet my father at the county line between Caldwell County and Hopkins County. And it would be in an area called the Blue Bridge. Well, the Blue Bridge, again, was just on the outskirts of Dawson. And it kind of wind down Dawson Road, aptly named, from Princeton. Well, I would ride that bus over there on Friday afternoons, and my dad would be there ready to pick me up. I remember he had a black van, kind of like it would look totally apt to have like the free candy written on it. Anyway, but yeah, so he'd pick me up, and like on Monday mornings he would drive me back to the same Blue Bridge. The bus would pick me up like 5:30 or 6. It was out, good ways out, so they'd have to pick me up. It was about a 13-mile trip. So anyway, and I would hang out with my dad, and that was great. Like I said, I love spending time with my pop. That's what I always call him, my pops. And a lot of times we'd go fishing. A lot of times we would go out, maybe go shooting. He taught me about hunting squirrels and rabbits and things like that. And he also just taught me those male life lessons that you just don't necessarily get from mom. There's just a lot of times there's a different energies with moms, at least back then. Well, we would hang out at this house. Now, the thing about this house, it was a duplex that he rented from an older woman and her daughter. The older woman, I would say, man, she was probably in her 70s or something, and the daughter was probably already in her 50s or later. Very wispy thin, kind of, what happened to Baby Jane, Betty Davis, thin, kind of, I don't know what was going on, but they had sort of like sickly looking eyes, almost like their eyes were kind of yellow. I don't know, maybe if they had liver issues or God knows what, but they were very kind people. Anyway, we rented the left side of the house, again, that they turned from a standard home into like a duplex. Well, everything was just fine. We'd hang out, me and Dad, we'd go down to the spillover, and I would be, I'd take my Star Wars toys and we'd play, and I'd let them play in the water, and, he'd show me how to catch fish and how to, bait hooks and figure out, this type of fish you want to fish at the bottom, this type of fish you want to fish at the top, this one takes lures, this one takes crickets. Anyway, Sorry to bore you with that. But anyway, that was all part of it. Important things I needed to know at 7, apparently. So anyway, I did notice certain nights I would hear stuff. Now, there was a bedroom. Like, there was a bedroom, was meant to sort of be like a living room or something, but it also had a bed that I could sleep in, and then the kitchen, and then we had an adjoining bathroom. We had a small hall that went to an adjoining bathroom. They had a door on their side. We had a door on our side. You go in there, you use it, you lock it, you use it, you unlock it, and you leave. Anyway, there would be, man, I can't describe it, just quirky noises. It's an old house. My dad said, son, it's an old house. Walls breathe. Floors creak. It's just the nature of an old home. And this is true. Where I'm at now, I live in an older home, and you'll hear the occasional bump, thump, or skitter, So anyway, I get that. Anyway, so we're chilling. I remember my dad had made shake and bake pork chops, the barbecue kind, my favorite. Anyway, after we had this great meal, I tried to sleep in the middle bedroom, which is close to the kitchen. Kept getting a weird feeling. Wake up, I think I'd hear something moving or rattling. Could have been pipes, could have been whatever, but you know what? I said, hey Dad, it's too hot in there. It was warm. And he had the AC in his room, blowing to the other room, but mainly in there. I said, Pop, I'm too hot, man. I'm too hot-natured. He's like, well, boy, hop up here on the bed. That's fine. Not a big deal. He let me sleep on the right side, and he slept on the left side. It was all groovy. And honestly, I felt safer. I didn't want to tell him I was a scaredy cat, but I was. So, sometimes we would hear the chairs move. Well, I'm assuming it's from the other side of the house. But this is like 3:30, going on 4. Usually happen anywhere between 2 to about 3:30. You would hear just activity. It would kind of get to the point where, it would get to the point where it would be chairs moving, feet shuffling, glasses, cutlery, silverware, almost like someone's having a little dinner party. And you kind of hear it wouldn't be like, hey Jim, how you doing, or whatever. It would be sort of like a just below the audible spectrum. And that was freaky. We got to where we would put a fan in between that room and our room. Actually put up a little curtain to cut it off. Not that that's going to block sound, but it just made it cooler. We stayed in there. It was fine. Well, it got to the point where I'd hear things falling over and crashing. I would not go in there in the morning. Dad would walk through. I knew he heard it. I think he was playing it off. So he would go through in the morning, take a look at the glass, make sure nobody threw a rock, or look around the floor. Generally, there wasn't a lot of stuff scattered. It wasn't like a poltergeist like that, but it was freaky. Anyway, that was not long before. No. Wait a minute. Let me digress. When we were first moving in, I was helping Dad clear out the middle room. Well, we're cleaning and this and that, and there was a mantelpiece. And I'm looking around, and I'm dusting off the stuff with a, just a wash rag. Some of you people would say wash rag in the north. Washcloth, maybe. Anyway, so I was cleaning with this wash rag and knocked something off. I didn't know what it was. It was kind of weird. Picked it up. It looked like it was a Polaroid. Picked it up. Flipped it over. Absolutely scared the hell out of me. It was an image of an old man dressed in a suit in a coffin. Terrified me. I said, Dad, there's a dead guy. There's a picture of a dad. I said, what are you talking about, boy? Dad, just go in the other room, man. It's on the floor. I don't want to mess with it. So my dad walked in there, looked around, found the little Polaroid, picked it up, and he went, he said, let me explain, son. A lot of people, when they lose their loved ones, sometimes that's the last time they'll see them. So they want something to remember them by. Maybe a last parting goodbye. Which I never quite understood. You know, I know a lot of people want to see their loved ones in good health. But I also know the times when people would lose their children or whatever, they would have those memento moris. Little things, lockets of hair. I've lost family. I've done the same thing. But anyway, definitely freaked me out. And that's when I started sleeping in the other room. Well, we ended up, there was a leak. And me and my pop started cleaning out the kitchen. And this is close to where the old hearth was, where the sink is now. Well, here we go. We're moving things out. We're pulling all this stuff up. We started morning time because we didn't want to work in the heat. So we started probably 8:30 or 9. It was about 11:30 by the time we got stuff moved. Started popping up these old punky boards that we need to replace. I noticed, looks like part of a foundation. I was like, well, maybe the foundation shifted. I don't know. Maybe it's a support for a support beam. We're pulling it back. We're clicking this back. And I'll be danged. It was sort of an oblong-looking flat stone that had kind of gravel around it. It was really strange. Very much out of place. Everything in my gut went, get out of there. I saw this just about the time my dad looked around, looked at it. I said, Pop? He said, yes, son. He says, I said, that looks a whole lot like a, you know, I didn't even have to finish. And he said, mm-hmm. I said, should we? Yeah, we're getting out of here. So we went and sat on that porch. My dad probably smoked 4 or 5 cigarettes. He smoked more cigarettes back in the day. And that was just done. You know, we fixed it, covered it back up. But you know what's crazy? After all that went down, nothing else ever happened. It was really strange. And that being said, that was the story of the stone beneath the hearth. I want to make sure you guys go check out stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, all those different places. But go enjoy the sun. Go out there and enjoy all the play of summer. But as the sun sets behind the pines and the shadows grow long, check in your basement, check in that hallway. Maybe peek a gander at that strange block under your house. Maybe you're living on that burial ground. But I do want to say it's okay because there's learning in fearful situations. And I beg you, please, to heed my advice. Always stay scared.